Hi there, welcome to the Heart of a Youth Leader podcast. This is a classic replay episode where we're going to listen back to an earlier episode from the Heart of a Youth Leader, something that you may have heard before but probably have missed. And we think it's a useful episode and therefore we want to share it with you again. And we're going to be doing that over these summer weeks before we relaunch with a new season of the Heart of a Youth Leader podcast in September. So enjoy and do let us know what you think.
Last night, I was watching TV with my family and we were watching a first episode of a recent drama that had been highly recommended. Lots of people we knew have said, oh, it's really good, you should watch it. And we were watching this episode and it just didn't sit right with us. And we were sort of slightly critical because it was quite confusing in terms of jumping around in time frame and all that kind of stuff, which made it hard anyway. But I just got this growing sense that this doesn't sit right. I got this growing sense that I don't like the themes. I don't like it. Just felt a bit dark. So much so that I ended up just before it finished the first episode, just stopping it completely, not knowing how much longer was left. And going to the family, do you know what? I don't think we should watch this. And actually, I found there's just 7 minutes to go, and there was that temptation. Oh, go on, just finish the 7 minutes. Now, part of it was because it was getting late and we were going to go to bed soon, and I could see where this was going in the episode, and there's probably going to be a cliffhanger, and I didn't want us all going to bed with that in our heads. But also just this sense of sometimes I don't know if you get that feeling. This just isn't right for me. And when I said it, my family both went, yeah, you're right. I agree with you. Let's leave it. Now, I don't know if that's purely, the motives are completely pure, or whether actually I was going, this is a bit confusing, I don't really want to watch it. Because actually there's still a bit in me that goes, I want to see what happens. But I'm just at this moment going, I'm not interested. It just isn't helpful. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the program was because I don't want us to be Christians who boycott certain things. Because actually, I don't believe that it was anything to do with the program necessarily, but actually how I was connecting with it. And just because I don't like it doesn't mean no one should like it. And I think it's all too easy to make Christianity about rules and be black and white in everything. Whereas actually it's about our attitudes and our heart attitude, our heart response, our what we fix our attention on and how it affects us. And so what I really want to do today is to ask us to think about, well, how do things affect us? I can remember a few years ago sitting with a bunch of youth workers over a lunch in a restaurant. Remember those days? And we were chatting, and youth workers are so competitive, aren't we? And we were talking about, well, what are the things we've seen on TV? What are the things we're enjoying? And the conversation kind of got to the more risque. What kind of things are you watching which you probably shouldn't, but actually it's good fun? And have you seen that? It's amazing. And then it turned around came to me and said, Andy, what about you? Do you watch any of these kind of programs? And most of them, have. They were talking about with either very aggressive sort of combat and violence, or had some nudity or these kind of things. And I went, do you know what? I won't watch anything that's an 18. It's just a principle that I set myself when I was probably about 18, 19. Now, it doesn't mean I've never seen an 18, and occasionally that I will change that, I will break that personal rule for something that someone says you really need to see this or you'll really enjoy this. But I'm aware that if it's an 18, it's probably not got stuff that's going to be helpful for me to focus on and to fix my attention and my mind and my heart to. Doesn't mean people shouldn't watch 18. Doesn't mean that all Christians should ban 18s. I don't mean that at all. We need to know how things affect us. But the reality for me is, I think too often as Christians we want everything that the world has. So if it's okay for people to watch, then it's okay It's okay for me to watch. If it's on TV, it must be all right. If it's on streaming services, it must be safe for us to watch. But who defines what's safe for us to watch? Some things that might be okay for one person might not be okay for others. Growing up, I used to really enjoy the sort of scary movies, the horror movies, or not the extreme gore, but the sort of suspense and the things that made you jump, and sometimes were just some people would describe as quite dark. But for me, I'm not the kind of person who really sort of cries at a movie or really gets involved with the story and believes it. I just enjoy the ride. And yet I know some people who go, I can't watch those kind of movies because actually I'm totally immersed in it and I think it's happening to me. Now, I've since kind of moved away from that kind of genre just because it's a bit boring apart from anything now. And actually I prefer something which is a real drama and got a deep storyline that I can really follow. But that's all personal taste, isn't it? But the thing that I really want us to focus on today is this verse in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8, where Paul writes, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." Wow. This is what I find so helpful when I think about what am I going to watch? What am I going to read? What am I going to listen to? And it goes to all areas of life. What am I going to spend my time on my phone doing and watching and playing? What am I going to be listening to music-wise? What films are we going to watch? What TV programs? This great list, is it true? In other words, does it match with God's rules, God's standards, God's way of life, God's recommendation for us about how to live life well? Is it noble? Does it honour the people in the story? Does it bring honour to us? That's what noble means, really. It means, is it honourable? Is it right? Is it pure? Is it lovely? Isn't that a great thing, that we actually want things that are going to be good for our souls, not bad for us? We want things that inspire us to be more like Jesus, not inspire us to be less like him. Is it admirable? Do we go, oh, I'd love to be like that person? I love biographies and autobiographies especially because I love to try and see what's the secret? What can I learn from this person? How can I be more like him? Over Christmas, I was given Barack Obama's autobiography by my sister-in-law, and what an amazing man he is, and what a fantastic book that I've really been chewing on in the last few weeks, of how balanced he is, how he made, he one of the first things he did when he moved into the Oval Office with his young family was to build, not build himself, swings and playing equipment for his two girls that he could see from his desk in the Oval Office, because he wanted to be able to see his kids playing when he was making a tough decision, to remind himself that the priority is my kids, and it brought him perspective. So I love those kind of things. So it says, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And so my challenge to us this week is to be more careful with what we give our attention to, what we spend our time thinking about, watching, listening to, playing, if we do video games or games on our phones or whatever. And let's remind ourselves to make sure they fit this standard. This is the kind of filter that we need to put everything through. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. What a list. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things.